This week on Martyr's Row.
Did Nimrod build the first temple to Marduk?
Was Yahweh the first to sit?
Are cherubim just the back of God's chair?
And did they have 4 wings or 6? Which one is it?
I don't know.
Let's find out this week on Martyr's Row. 3, 2, 1.
Saint Benam, a prince of Assyria, was in the days of the Persian kings turned from the worship of idols unto the faith of Christ, together with his sister Sarah and many of their household. Being instructed by a holy man, they received the truth with gladness and were baptized, forsaking the vanities of their former life. When news reached their father, the king, he was filled with wrath and pursued them with armed men. Yet Benam and his companions refused to deny the Lord, and were taken and slain for their confession of his name. Afterward, as it is told, the king himself was smitten with affliction, and repenting, was healed through the prayers of Saint Sarah, and so turned to Christ. Thus, Benam, though a prince in this world, chose rather to be a servant of heaven, and by his death bore witness that no earthly power may stand against the truth of God. Anno Domini 350.
For centuries, travelers approaching Akar Kuf, the great ruin rising from the flat land west of Baghdad, thought they were looking at something far older and more infamous than a Keset monument. They thought they had found Babel. The ruin was so conspicuous, so solitary, and so tower-like on the horizon that Western visitors from the early modern period repeatedly confused it with the Tower of Babel, long before archaeology gave the site its proper name, Der Kuragaldza, a royal city founded in the 14th century BCE by Keset king Karagalzu I. About 30 kilometers west of central Baghdad. What those travelers were actually seeing was a ziggurat, not a mythic ruin of Genesis, but a Mesopotamian temple tower. At Akar Kuf, that ziggurat belonged to a sacred complex associated with Enlil, one of the great gods of Mesopotamia. Archaeological descriptions of the site identify the ziggurat and its adjoining temple as part of the cultic center dedicated to Enlil, making the ruin not a monument to human rebellion in the biblical sense, but a monumental expression of ancient state religion and divine kingship. That is part of why Akar Kuf held such power over the imagination. It looked like the sort of place where heaven and earth once met. For caravan travelers and later visitors on the road to Baghdad, the surviving core of the ziggurat stood as a landmark, visible from afar, inviting biblical speculation. But the more archaeology advanced, the more the identification shifted. Akar Kuf was not Babylon, it was Der Karagaltsu. Its god was Enlil, not Marduk. Its builders were Keset rulers, not the builders traditionally associated with Babel. So where do scholars generally think Babel belongs now? Not Akar Kuf, but at Babylon itself, especially in connection with Edamenenki, the famous Babylonian ziggurat associated with Marduk. Modern reference works and mainstream scholarship commonly connect the biblical Tower of Babel tradition with Babylon and its temple tower culture, rather than with the Keset ziggurat near Baghdad. In that sense, the old mystery has narrowed. The ruin west of Baghdad captured the imagination. But the stronger historical candidate for Babel is the monumental sacred architecture of Babylon in southern Mesopotamia, especially Edamenenki. So, Paul, there's this place outside of Baghdad, and it's a ziggurat, in Iraq
Yeah,
that is associated with Enlil.
that's fascinating.
And for a long time, people thought it was the Tower of Babel.
Wow.
So then
Yeah.
the thing that, I mean, other than all the things that I can't pronounce,
It's a lot of big words.
it is. It's a lot of big words. The thing that I found interesting is in the process of figuring out what this ziggurat is outside of Baghdad, you come across like a temple center for Enlil, a Mesopotamian god. And then going back to Babylon, where the god worshipped there was Marduk.
Yeah.
So then my question in all of that is, when you look at Nimrod, who is basically said to have built Babylon,
Yeah.
does the god Marduk, is that who the Tower of Babel is built to? And the reality is this is not really a question to you. It's more so a thought I've never had.
Yeah.
That the Tower of Babel actually not being in spite of Yahweh, but instead to be a temple for a lesser god.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
So then, was the Tower of Babel actually a temple that Nimrod was building or commissioned to build in Babylon for Marduk?
Yeah, and even, I guess when I think through that, my first thoughts are like, that seems like it would be more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when we look at, especially when people built towers,
Yeah.
I can't think of a single example where in ancient history where people did that and it wasn't for a god.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
that was
no
the
one is
purpose.
ever like, let me do this for myself.
Correct.
It was always, let me do this in honor of this other thing.
Yes.
And honestly, even looking at the language of Nimrod,
Yeah.
of him becoming a Gibborim,
Yes.
it's like, well, that would actually make sense that he would build it for the thing that's making him a Gibborim.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and in that
It's establishing
idea,
that power dynamic that they want.
Well, and when you look at Tower of Babel, which it is interesting, it's like that's why there's some discrepancy of like there is a ziggurat that people are like, that used to be the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
And I think the one that we picture a lot of times is actually the temple to Enlil in Baghdad.
Which that's the one that I've seen pictures of. You're like,
Right.
This is the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
So, when you said, I was like, oh.
that's that's the temple to Enlil,
That's fascinating.
which is kind of awesome.
That is cool. Yeah.
And terrifying. But
Yes.
But the thing that it made me think of is like I think I just always think of these two things separately.
Yeah.
But a lot
Yeah.
of the conversations that we're having has started to blend these things together in a way that would be more true to the ancient culture.
Yeah.
That like if you really think about Nimrod and you think about what he was building, it never really said like, it wasn't like Nimrod was like, hey, we need to spite Yahweh.
Right.
That's not really what he was doing as far as like the description that we're given.
Right.
Instead, it's like, no, and they even described like, let's build a tower so that all of the earth or that everybody around can come and see how awesome we are. Right.
Yeah.
So and that's obviously a massive paraphrase.
Well, even when we think it's like to reach tower to reach the heavens.
Yes.
And it's like, well, when we look through what mountains often indicate in those temple structures, it's like, well, it's to a man-made mountain.
Right.
Where man could meet with God.
And a ziggurat is that.
Yes.
It's in plains or flatlands where people don't have mountains.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we need to make a mountain because that's where we meet with God.
Yes.
So a tower to the heavens in the flat plains is not inviting God to come down with us. It's going up to the place and then inviting, because we don't think that God can come all the way down to the plains.
Yeah, it's too far.
Right? So it's that idea, and the confusion of it is like when there is confusion, it seems to make sense that it's really like they are going after the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily like, oh no, they're going to build a tower and like Jack and the Beanstalk come up here and kill us.
Right. Yeah.
but instead they will be ruled over.
Mm-hmm.
So there's mercy there.
Yeah.
And they will be worshiping a false god.
Yeah.
Therefore, having false knowledge that will lead them
Yeah.
away from their job description.
Yes.
It will lead them away from who they were designed to be.
Yeah, because the way it describes Nimrod is he's aligned himself with something other than Yahweh.
Right.
And so then it would make sense
Marduk.
that he wants to now gain access to interact with that god.
Well, and it would make sense that, like, if that's the core of the Mesopotamian myths, then it's starting in that space makes sense.
It does, yeah.
So, like, the idea that the Tower of Babel is actually potentially a ziggurat built, commissioned by Nimrod for worship of Marduk.
Yeah.
Which is like...
I've never thought of that before. That's so interesting.
And it would kind of make sense.
It would, yeah.
Especially in that area. So, like, yeah, I don't know. When I realized that, or when I read that about the temple outside of Baghdad, the ziggurat outside of Baghdad, that it being representative to Enlil, but people thinking it's the Tower of Babel, and then Tower of Babel, people going, no, actually that was a ziggurat to Marduk. That's a historical understanding. Yeah. That's not the biblical understanding. But when you look at the biblical narrative, it does look like it's like, so we talked about this a little bit, like things like Pergamum. Yeah. When we did that episode on Pergamum, the idea was like there was this one city that had this hub of all of the temples to all the gods. Yeah. And they had this massive ancient library. So if you wanted knowledge, that's where you went. Yes. So making a ziggurat in the middle of the plains in order to draw the nations to it, it being a place of worship to a creator god, would make sense of why it would draw people from other nations to it.
Absolutely.
So it not being like a, hey, come look at me, I'm Nimrod on the top of the mountain, come worship me. It's more so like them thinking that they are worshiping the creator god Marduk. Yes. You know what I mean?
And it also would make sense even for Nimrod. It's like, okay, well, what's his reason for that? It's like, well, he's the one who's in charge. Yeah. And so he also gets glory because he's the one who leads people to Marduk.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting.
That's so interesting.
And, like, also thinking about, like, I hadn't really thought about a potential temple to Enlil. Yeah. But, of course, there were.
There would have to be, yeah.
And now we know where one was.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
That's so interesting. I've never heard that before.
Kind of cool.
That is really cool. I like that.
Well, let's keep going.
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
You paint them soft with borrowed wing, porcelain skin and pretty things, floating low on lullabies, harps and halos, gentle lights. But scroll back past the storybooks, dust off all those second looks, first words every time they speak. Do not fear, but knees go weak. They're not what you think, not soft, not weak. They burn, they stand at God's command. Cherubim at Eden's gate, guarding life we couldn't take, flashing swords and holy ground, turn the sinner trembling round. Seraphim with covered face, felt away. They're not what you think, not soft, not weak. They burn, they stand at God's command. They're not what you think, not soft, not weak. They burn, they stand at God's command. At God's command.
So there's a lot of people in the world,
More than 2.
at least a few,
Yeah.
right? And it seems to be that every time I talk to somebody about, like, particularly it feels like, okay, we're like post age of disclosure.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like 2026 is like the year of, what did I say? Disclosure. And it's almost like everybody's over it already.
It is funny how, yeah, I think a lot of people have been waiting for a lot of stuff
Mm-hmm.
that's come out, and then now that it happened, they're like, okay.
But
Yeah.
it's also like fair to understand and realize that everything is curated,
Yeah.
in the sense that like like you don't necessarily just like open all the gates at the zoo.
Yeah.
You strategically unload,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So and also like hide and kill off.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
There's no gorilla here.
we never had a gorilla.
I don't think so.
But one of the things that, as like talking about disclosure and all of that stuff, I think one of the things that comes out in Christian circles a lot is like, how do we categorize these things? How do we how do we make sense of them from a biblical worldview?
Yeah.
And then even like the understanding of like coming across in conversations people that trying to identify certain things in categories that make sense in a Christian worldview.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about like when you build your foundation off of like your Christian foundation, not off of Jesus and the simplicity of the gospel, and you build into it like minor conversations theologically and doctrinally, then when those things get holes poked in them, the whole thing kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a problem. So really, when it comes to like age of disclosure, biblical worldview, conversations about like humanity being created for the purpose of working and managing the earth. Like that seems to be what Genesis is laying out, is like God created humans for the purpose of the earth, to take care of it. We were made from it, intended to rule over it. But because of our sin and separation in relationship to God, then something else is ruling over us.
Yeah.
And then through Jesus, we can take back rule and overpower the spiritual forces that are ruling over us on the earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in all of that, we've been talking a lot about humanity. We've talked about Adam. We talked about really what our purpose is in that. But then there's all these other beings.
Yes.
And all these other beings, like, we don't seem to have their job descriptions in the same way that we have ours laid out.
Yeah.
We kind of get glimpses of it here and there. And really, it seems like other writers through the scriptures are unfolding things in ways that, like, we don't necessarily have full context to where they're getting that info from.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
So, like, when we look at different ones, there's what? Seraphim? Cherub? Or cherubim?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
like, that's...
And then there's, like, other ones, but... Because another big one is just, like, angel is a general category.
True.
Or
and then we would get like an accuser,
yeah,
which is an interesting one
it's very interesting.
because it shows up in multiple places, particularly
Yeah.
Job 1.
And I think part of it is how we're seeing a lot of these beings function in Old Testament versus New Testament versus Middle Ages versus modern days is different.
Sure.
And I think that's part of what makes it confusing.
Right.
Because we're like so
yeah.
far removed from how the interplay is,
Yeah.
and even their jobs have changed.
True.
Like what they're supposed to do has changed.
Oh, I see.
And so it's like, especially
Like new
the big
technologies.
thing. Yeah, or even just like post-Christ versus pre-Christ.
Sure.
It's like a lot of things changed then.
The rules are different.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times we try to apply modern experience and rules to what the Old Testament says.
Yeah, okay.
And where it's like, oh, wait, but it was different then.
Well, I like how like right now we're kind of blending the idea of things that are in the Bible are also actively affecting our world. So it's like
Yes.
it's this blending of how the Bible adjusts and changes throughout human history, and the things that Jesus does really changes like how we function on the earth.
Yes.
Yeah. Which kind of makes sense.
Absolutely.
Well, even to the sense of like from the beginning, we were created to be fruitful and multiply, and then to rule over the other creatures and created things on the earth, and to manage God's good world.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so like that idea changes when we hand over dominion to other forces that weren't supposed to have dominion.
Yeah.
And then those forces do things to try and take it a step further in having their offspring take dominion of the earth in a rightful way.
Yeah.
Where when Jesus comes in and steps back into the space, all of that shifts because he resets it. But he doesn't go backwards. He goes forward. So he doesn't like, we're not trying to like go back to the garden. We're not trying to like go back and redo what has been done. Instead, finishing out or correcting. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I don't love the idea that like even in things like replacement, like that stuff doesn't really make sense because the gospel unfolds.
Yeah.
So it's not like God is ignoring time.
Right.
Because things are laying out in a certain way. So as they lay out, there has to be adjustments made and things finished out and adjustments and things fixed and stuff like that. That really seems to be more versus it being like, well, this is like a reversal is different because that would be like a ruling.
But
right?
I think what we see a lot of unfolding is the idea of redemption.
Right.
Which it's like, well, that's to take back something or turn something back to what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's the timeline that we see inside of Scripture.
Sure.
Where it's just like, well, it started as something that was how it should be.
Yeah.
And then it fell away. And then the Lord was like, I need to pull this back to what it was.
Yeah.
Or what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. So, Paul, we have this, like, in the garden, we have this understanding now. Go back and watch previous episodes. But that Adam is made with humanity outside of the garden.
Yeah.
And then he specifically is brought into the garden to take care of the garden of God specifically as a human.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a unique thing because it doesn't really identify that the garden is on the earth.
Right.
Just in the east of Eden.
Yeah.
So in that way, Adam and humanity is working the earth. Adam proper with Eve are working the garden.
Yes.
So are there other beings in the garden?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Previous episodes we talked about this.
Yes, definitely.
So then if that's our job in the garden and on the earth, what are the other beings? Like, we don't see seraphim in the garden, but we do see cherubim. So do the cherubim are they like? What are they supposed to be doing there? Are they just hanging out, or okay? So here's the question:
Okay.
Is cherubim a species,
Mm.
or is it a job?
Yeah, that's a great question.
So to be a cherub, is that like your lineage?
Mm.
Is it a species of being, or is it a job title?
Yeah, and it's funny because I guess even to set this up a little bit in some ways is I think it's interesting because I've been listening to this new podcast recently.
Okay.
It's not a brand new podcast.
Yeah.
It's just new to me.
Yeah. Fair.
And what's interesting about it because it's a non-Christian podcast,
Okay.
but it's a story podcast.
Ooh.
And it's people that are basically explaining like, here are these unexplained or paranormal events that happen in my life,
Okay.
and I don't know what to do with it. And what's funny about it is because even the host is like, yeah, I don't know what to do with that.
That's awesome.
Like every episode is like, here's this wild thing. Anyway, here's the next episode. And it's
like personal modern myth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's been interesting to me is a lot of the people that share these stories, there's a good number of them that were Christians and aren't anymore.
Okay.
And they would say, like, I grew up this way, but I'm not that way anymore for a very various amount of reasons.
Sure.
But one of the things I hear a lot of times is like, well, these things would happen and there was no answers inside of the church.
Yeah, you have no categories to respond to it.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of it is like, because we have a way that we've talked about, especially like Cherubim and Seraphim.
Yeah.
And we've created these ideas, a lot of that stemming from the Middle Ages and like medieval demonology and angelology.
Right. That's a hard one. It'll get you.
Yes.
Angelology.
It's a tough word. But it's like, okay, but is that what the Bible actually is teaching? Or is that just what we've decided it's saying?
Right.
And that can take us on a wild path that ends up being incompatible with experiences.
Right. Like do cherub have wings?
Right. Yeah.
So according to Ezekiel, they do.
Yeah.
And there's like human hands on the inside of them.
Right. It gets kind of weird.
But they're not like fat babies.
Right. Not at all. But what's interesting about it too,
Like
which we'll kind of
the most
explore a little.
opposite
Yeah.
thing possible.
Which the other thing we can explore a little bit is the descriptions of these things change.
Okay.
So they're not consistent.
I have a theory about that.
Yeah. And
Okay.
there's a few ways to take it. Yeah. But yeah, let's dive into this.
Let's do it.
Let's just get right to it.
So is cherub a species or is it a job description?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I want to look at with that is like, okay, so inside of scripture, what do they do?
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
So it's like, okay, what do we actually even just see them doing every time we see them?
Yeah, the journalist questions.
Yeah.
Who, what, when, where, why.
Who, what, when, where, why. We ask why a lot. So actually the first place we see them is Genesis 3:24,
Okay.
which is this is the fall of man.
Right. This is the first time they're named.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
It's not really the first time we see them.
Because even later we see them like predating the fall.
Yes.
Um,
And potentially even
even
like,
talking about our boy Ezekiel, because he mentions like, oh no, this cherub was there before.
in the garden of God on the mountain of God.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not pre-Genesis 1. It's just in the cracks between
Right.
Genesis, probably more like Genesis 2.
It's something we see
It would
later
be Genesis 2
in
because
in the chronology of how we've laid out the scriptures.
Yeah,
It timeline wise, it's before Genesis 3,
correct.
but as we read it, it shows up books later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more description later. And you're like, well, where did these guys get this from?
Right. Yeah. Yes. I mean, so even just taking it as scripture is laid out for us, Genesis 3 is the first place we actually see them named.
Yes.
And so what we see them doing there is they are set to guard the entrance to Eden.
Yeah, so the first time we meet them, they're guardians.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's pretty, like, clear.
It's like, yeah, that's what they're flaming swords.
Yeah.
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 Um,
Or lightsabers.
Or yes.
I mean, what?
And I think it's interesting, even just taking that kind of reading into like, okay, what is Eden a little bit?
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is God's place.
Yes.
This is where humanity meets God.
Yes.
And so now man's pushed out of God's presence,
Mm-hmm.
and to stop them from entering again,
Yes.
and also to reach the tree of life, he's placed cherubim there.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so the cherubim are there to guard, to basically keep out man from the presence of God.
Yeah, and it is interesting because he
Or
like
access to God, I should say.
the whole thing is like keep them away from the tree of life that
Yeah.
they might live forever.
Yeah.
Not keep them away more from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which actually, that'd be a fun episode to talk even about what that is and where that comes from.
Yeah. We talked more about the tree of life.
Yeah. We've talked more about that than...
Yeah. Trees as portals.
Yes. Yeah.
Previous episode.
See our body of work.
Join the ecosphere.
I love that.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked about that.
It has, yeah.
But like we are talking a little bit more freely about things because we have hours of episodes at this point.
We've set up a lot of this.
That
Yeah.
kind of fills in the gaps.
It's easier for us to talk about it, but for a new listener, you got to go back.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, you have homework.
It's all right. You have
Tried to do
time.
ours. Yeah.
You have time, trust me.
Just have a long drive set up and then just
Yeah.
tear through it.
Yeah.
Or
Or just turn it on before you go to bed and
yeah, that's true. It'll bleed into your subconscious at night.
yeah, and the radiation is good for your brain and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Let it echo in your mind as you
Yeah.
sleep
There you go.
in the ecosphere. And then the next place that we see them is Exodus 25:17.
Okay.
And this
That's
is
quite a bit later.
it is quite a bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the other thing that's interesting. We see them kind of not consistently in every book, but like, oh, and here's a spot where we're going to talk about them.
Well, technically that is the next book.
Yeah.
It's just
true.
a lot of time later.
Yes.
A lot of time later. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that is correct. And in here, this is the Ark of the Covenant. And this is where we see them placed on either end of the ark around the mercy seat.
Representations though.
And that's yes, not actually cherubim there, but
Yeah.
carvings of them.
Yeah.
It was interesting because in Exodus 25, verse 22, this is where God says, "There I will meet with you," and then from between the two cherubim.
Right.
So it's interesting because even here we get the same idea of like, okay, so they're surrounding the mercy seat, the cherubim are,
Yeah.
symbolically in these carvings on top of the ark. And God's saying between them on the mercy seat is where I'm going to meet you.
Yes.
So we still get this idea of they're guarding the mercy seat.
Yeah.
So they're surrounding it. So they're the thing that they stand between us and God.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they're kind of a boundary, but there's
Yeah.
also isn't there also a description of within the wings? It's like this idea that Yahweh sits within the wings of.
Yes.
So in some ways, it's almost like the side, like the armrest and the back of the chair of God is actually living beings that He's created.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So like it's not necessarily like the cherubim that we've seen description of is more like two beings on either side and their wings stretched out.
Yeah. And they're touching.
But it would probably be more like their wings are stretched out but open so that God can sit.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because they're surrounding the mercy seat.
Yeah, because in Solomon's temple, it's a little bit closer to that because when you go, am I jumping?
That's actually the next spot I have.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
So-
1 Kings 6.
Yeah, okay. So in Solomon's temple, the cherubim going into the holy place
Yes.
are these huge golden statues.
Mm-hmm.
And from like your entry door, their wings start, but they're on the sides. And then as you walk down like the hall to get to the holy place, they kind of turn in and their wings touch.
Yes.
So it's like this, like almost like an open oval
Yes. Yeah.
where like you have in order to get to God, you have to go through them.
Yeah.
So they are gatekeepers.
Yes. Yeah, they're still, or use the word guarding. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, they're guarding this area.
Yeah.
Well, then it's interesting too, because then even in 1 Kings 7,
Okay.
where they're describing the outer chambers where most people would go, we still see inside the panels of the door of the temple, we still see carvings of the cherubim.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because it's like we don't have these grand statues that are, surrounding or guarding the place where man meets God,
Yeah.
but they're also represented inside the doors as you walk in.
Sure.
So it's like not as grand
Yeah.
because you don't have these massive statues,
Yeah.
but it's still a reminder of like you're walking into a holy place and the cherubim are present
Yes.
to where you have to walk through.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, okay, so these are big deal creatures.
But it also would have created this imagery for the Hebrew people of the garden of God.
Yes.
That like the holy place was the garden,
Mm-hmm.
and the temple was even set up that way.
Yeah.
That it was this garden place that you had to access the holy place through the cherubim at the gate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's mimicking the garden.
Yes.
The whole temple structure is mimicking the garden,
Yes.
which is that would be another episode that'd be fun to get into.
That would be a lot
And
of fun.
we're kind of talking about it a little bit now, but yeah, so like you get this idea that like the temple itself was similar to, I mean, we've talked about this, but the idea that like Israel, like the Jewish people, did not think that the whole of God's presence was contained within or upon the ark.
Right.
They actually didn't even see the mercy seat simply as this, but the temple itself as the footstool of God.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't even that like that the earth itself was God's footstool, not a place on the earth to be able to contain God,
Yes.
but instead
Yeah.
that he could touch down, and where he touched down was the mercy seat.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, even jumping into this
But looking at the
theologically
garden,
a little bit. Yeah.
but looking at the garden, that it was the same thing.
Yeah.
He wasn't touching down on
Mm-mm.
all of Eden. He was only touching down in the east of Eden in his garden.
Yes.
And so there's still this idea of like the earth itself cannot contain the presence of God.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is smaller than him.
Yes. Yeah. But it's interesting because
But big enough for his feet.
it opens up that idea of like, wait, but I thought God was omnipresent and everywhere. It's
Right.
like, which is true, he is.
Yes.
But there are places where he's more present.
Well, it's true.
And that's where these moments are. It's like, well, in the Holy of Holies is where he's most present on earth.
Yes.
Or the garden is where he's most present on earth.
Right. It's where he was walking. He
Yeah.
would walk. Yeah.
And it's the same idea even now with us carrying the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Is like, well, he's most present in people that claim Christ.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
He's most present in people that follow God. Yeah.
well, within he's only present in those who follow God.
Yes. Yeah.
But surrounding, he's available to anyone who will pay attention to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's
So it's kind of that interesting idea, but that's where
well, like if there were a mound, an ant mound below me,
yeah.
and I put my feet down around the ant mound, like I can't get in the mound,
Yeah.
but I can look down and observe everything.
Yeah.
But that's also not like fully, like God has this way of putting his feet down and looking upon it, and then sending his spirit to live within it.
Yes.
So his knowledge extends in that way.
Well, even taking the anthill idea, it's like, well, beneath the surface,
Right.
these tunnels that they've created go everywhere. They're huge.
That's what the Holy Spirit's for.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like we see the presence of, where the ants live is in a lot of area.
Yes.
But where we notice them the most is in this hill.
Right on, yeah, right
Yeah.
on top.
Yeah. Yeah, right on top of the hill.
Yeah. Well, and that's why God in the garden goes, where are you guys?
Yeah.
Like if I was up here at the anthill, I'd be like, "Hey, hey, where are you?
You're
Can
supposed
you
to
come
be
out?
here.
Yeah, come out. I need to meet you."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but the Holy Spirit's like, "I'm in there." He's like all in the tunnels.
In the mines.
Yeah.
So
cherub.
Yeah. And then if we jump to the Psalms, we see in Psalm 80 verse 1, and also 99 verse 1.
Okay.
God is enthroned between the cherubim.
Yeah.
And then actually, I'll save that one here because that one's an interesting one. But then, that's also when we see Ezekiel 28, which we've mentioned.
Yeah.
Which is talking about the guardian cherub on the holy mountain of God.
Yes.
So it's still all these ideas of like, here they are guarding and around the presence of Yahweh.
Right.
And where man accesses that.
Yeah, so maybe my question would be more so, is cherubim where we get the word chair? And maybe that's like, I don't know.
I don't know the etymology of chair well enough to say that right now.
But it kind of seems like it.
Yeah.
Like they were the back and sides of the mercy seat.
Right. Yeah.
So they were the original chair.
Cherubim, chair, seat. How deep does it go?
Where God sits, the first to sit. Was God the first to sit? Things we need to know. Things we need to ask.
These are the hard-hitting questions that we've all been wondering.
Yeah, it's true.
Which we could do an episode on that too.
But also, like, it is interesting to note that we see cherubim on the earth in Genesis 3.
Yes.
But then we don't see them on the earth again.
Yeah, then they're oftentimes representative.
Yeah, we don't necessarily
explicitly
see them.
Yeah.
So the angels that appear are listed as simply messengers.
Yes.
Post cherubim. But Ezekiel sees them, right? All of the prophets and apostles that have heavenly vision see them.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they're there. But this goes back to, like, I've asked this question before too, but the idea of, like, all right, so how come they knew what cherubim look like? Because the only description, or the description that we get, isn't until Ezekiel.
Yeah.
But Moses and the Israelites created cherubim out of gold on the mercy seat.
Yes.
So how did they know what they looked like?
Right, yeah.
Moses must have seen them in the vision and in the time with God, because if he's speaking face to face with Yahweh, if he's speaking face to face with God, right, then there's obviously cherubim present.
Yes.
Because God's sitting on them.
Yeah. Which we'll see actually more of that even here in a minute.
So then the description either comes from Moses and it just wasn't written down, or it comes from their knowledge and being able to see it as well.
Yeah, and we'll go into a little bit more of like how they look in a second, because we do get some differences between how they're described. Well,
and there are elders that sit up on the mountain with Moses. Oh, no. Am I getting these two things wrong? There's this council moment of it's either apostles or it's leaders of Israel, and I can't remember. And this is unfortunate. But
yeah, I can't remember right now.
There's a moment where they go up and they're about to meet with, or they're not going to the highest place on the mountain, but they sit in the presence of God and have a meal. I think it's the elders of Israel. I'm pretty sure it is.
I can't remember that verse right now off the top of my head.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, sorry. But that's fascinating.
but anyways, they would have also seen cherubim.
Yes.
But that gets, when we get into description and why they look the way they look.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that.
Yeah. I have a general idea.
Yeah. So so more places where we see them, what they're doing.
Yes.
This is where we see in 1 Chronicles 28:18.
Okay.
This is where David gives Solomon plans for the chariot of the cherubim.
Okay, yeah.
Which we also see the similar idea in Psalm 18:10 and 2 Samuel 22:11, which is God is described as riding on a cherubim, flying on the wings of the wind.
That's cool.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So even just to say this, because you brought even just like messenger angels, which is a little redundant to say, actually, because cherub or cherubim, they don't deliver messages. That's the in Greek be angelos, and then in Hebrew be malach.
Right.
It's like those are the beings that deliver messages, and they have their own description of how they look, which is often very human.
True.
And a lot of times people don't know they're even angels until after.
Yeah, from the messenger angels.
But when people see cherub, they're like, "Yeah, that's a cherub."
Right, for sure.
When they see, because we see that with that with Abraham. Like he sits and has a meal with these beings.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh yeah, those are angels."
True, but they're not necessarily cherub.
No, they're not. They're angels.
And then when the angel shows up to Mary, like these,
So like we see different descriptions. So it's like, okay, so these are two different things, but they also function two different ways.
Yeah, that's true.
So with an angel, it's like that is a messenger. That's someone who delivers a message.
Yes, that's their job. That's their function.
That's their function. And then for the cherub, it's like, well, they serve a different function, which is to guard access to Yahweh.
Yeah, and like a quick scriptural anecdote to that is Revelation 2. In Revelation 2, we see a message coming from Yahweh that tell the angel at Pergamum.
Yeah.
So it's like there's an angel in heaven delivering a message to an angel on the earth who will then give it to the human leader. Yeah. So there's this like interchange. It's like they have phones or they have like a meetup spot. You know what I mean?
And that's one where it's like there's definitely different ways to interpret that. Even it's like, because if you look at an angel is someone who delivers the message of the Lord.
Yes.
It's like, well, you could call a human pastor an angel.
Okay.
Inside of that idea of it's someone who delivers a message.
Oh, I see.
But a message from the Lord. That's one way you could look at it. The other way you could look at it is the supernatural view. Is like, oh no, there's actually this other thing here to help influence and lead and guide.
Is it weird that at this point I'm a little bit repulsed at the first option?
Me too. Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. And the reason why is because that's more of a leap. It's ignoring the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
It's ignoring the fact that like Revelation 2 quite literally says to say to the angel at Pergamum.
Right.
Or to the angel at Ephesus.
Yeah.
It's not addressing a person.
Right.
Like it says angel.
Yeah.
So like,
but I think
for us to interpret angel as man.
Well, I think the only reason that is a possibility still is because angel isn't a being; it's a job title.
Sure.
In the same way that we see here a little bit.
So like, send this to the receiver. Yeah.
Whose job is to do this?
Yeah, but the thing is like, it's written in Greek.
Right.
Paul's letters are written in Greek, and he says preacher.
Yeah.
So like, if it were to say send this to the preacher at Pergamum, it would say that.
They'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like,
and that's
kind of simple logic.
And that's what leads more to the supernatural view of it.
Yeah. But also it's a supernatural book.
Absolutely it is.
I mean, the whole thing, yes, but like, particularly in Revelation, when you're getting this glimpse into the heaven space, then it's quite literally going, like, this is how the back end works, guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even with a phone operator, like, the way that all used to work is, like, there was a person in between. And they were behind a wall. They were they were somewhere else. So, like, if I wanted to call you, I had to call them. And that's kind of how it shows heaven is set up. If Yahweh he has set it up in a way where if he wants to deliver something to a human, he does it through this third party
Yeah.
that
Well, and
he's created.
I think
for
that's
that
also what's
purpose.
interesting, even with the letters in Revelation, is those are written by Jesus,
Mm.
or they're like or they're spoken from him.
Okay, this is another podcast.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. Okay, we can talk about that another time.
So description of cherub.
Yeah. So, yes. What do they look like?
Yeah.
So there's actually only 2 places where we see them actually described.
Okay.
As
Is-
far as like actually seeing them,
Is the first one in Exodus?
it's in Ezekiel.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah. So this is what we've talked about. So this is Ezekiel 1:5-7,
Okay.
and he says they have human likeness. They have 4 faces: a human face, a lion face, an ox face, and an eagle face. 4 wings, a calf's foot, and human hands.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, so each one of these things has that.
Yeah.
So each one has 4 faces, each one has 4 wings,
Yeah.
each one has calf's feet for some reason.
Kind of cool.
And human hands, kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is interesting though, because calves' feet are split, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh wait. No, they're hooves.
No, yeah.
They're not split.
No, they're not.
Okay. That's important.
I was like,
if
wait,
you're
no, they're not,
Jewish.
because they'd be clean.
Yeah.
They're not unclean animals.
No, so you can eat cherub.
Yummy, yummy. What are we having for dinner tonight? I found some cherubim.
One crash landed in our backyard. Talk about age of disclosure.
Yeah. Well, so I do want to point this out first, actually, before I say the next description.
Sorry, that opens up a whole wormhole.
Actually, jumping back to what we see them doing,
Okay.
because normally we see them, like standing and guarding Yahweh's, our access to Yahweh.
Yeah, yeah.
But then we have the description of like, oh, actually, God flies on them,
Right.
or we see like the chariot of the cherubim.
Yes.
And I think it's this idea that we see of anywhere Yahweh goes, the cherubim go with him.
Yeah. Secret Service.
Yeah, it's Secret Service.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what they do.
Right.
And then
But they have families too.
they do. It's their job. They clock in, they clock out. It's their 9 to 5.
Cherub have families too. Okay.
Like, so what got you into guardianship? It's like,
Yeah.
I just got to feed my family, bro.
Yeah. It's a lineage thing.
It's a family business.
I would think that you would understand.
So interestingly, in Revelation is where we see the next description of them.
Okay.
Which is
Ezekiel
Revelation.
all the way to Revelation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is Revelation 4:6-8.
Which you could argue Ezekiel is the first revelation.
Yeah.
Revelation is like part 2.
Well, not if you count Daniel.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I always
Um,
forget about Daniel.
Yeah, I feel like he's not, at least for me, I don't think of him as like the prophet Daniel always.
Sure.
And then I'm like, what did he say? Oh, yeah, that dude said some very prophetic things.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's very prophetic.
Yeah. Yeah. Another episode.
So Revelation, this
Have
is
we
where
done a Daniel episode?
we've talked about him a little bit. We've brought him up. We've never done
Mostly
a Daniel
in
episode.
Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Revelation, this is where we see the difference. So to put them more back to back, in Ezekiel, we see they have a human likeness. Each one has 4 faces, 4 wings, a calf's feet, and human hands.
Okay.
But then Revelation, John describes them as full of eyes in front and behind, all around and within. Which within is like, how do you know that? He's like, open your mouth. Let me take a peek. Each creature. Each creature with a single face. So the first one with the face of a lion, the second with the face of an ox, the third with the face of a man, and the fourth with an eagle in flight. And then they have 6 wings.
Okay.
So it's like, wait, these are 2 very different, some similarities, but very different descriptions.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, what's going on here? And so, for me, I guess the first question a lot of people might jump at is, there's, like, inconsistency now.
Okay.
So they're making it up, right?
Sure.
And I think the
Nope.
big thing here is, like, well, the descriptions aren't to give us an anatomy lesson.
Correct.
Or to
yeah.
be consistent. Yeah, but they function more symbolically to evoke certain ideas.
Oh, okay, I see.
And so actually, so the description of the cherubim from Ezekiel is similar with the Mesopotamian views of what throne guardians looked like.
Makes sense.
So the Hebrew word for cherub comes from the Mesopotamian word karibu.
Okay.
And those,
Like a caribou.
yeah, yeah, which those are cherub. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, fair. And lions eat them.
Yeah, and we sit on them now.
We lay them out as rugs.
And they were guardians of deities.
Okay.
So in here it's like they're not giving anatomy lessons. Like this is the anatomy of a cherub.
Right.
But they're using descriptions and symbolism to help us comprehend spiritual encounters and evoke meaning from it.
Well, that makes me think, like, did Enlil have guardians?
And he would have,
Why?
because they all do.
So lesser Elohim would have their own cherub?
Inside, like, the Mesopotamian views, yes.
But
That was their belief.
But if we would
But in
see
actuality, they wouldn't. But they would say they do.
well, maybe they do.
Actually, that's interesting. But
Because like a vice president has
that's true.
I want to say Social Security.
He also has that.
He has all of it.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah,
all
he would
of our
have Secret
Social-
Service.
He
Yeah.
would have Secret Service.
Yeah.
And even past presidents have Secret Service detail.
Yeah.
So like in that way, do other Elohim have entourage?
Which that would be an interesting thing to look at. And that's one where the Bible doesn't
And if
really
the-
give us insight into that.
But if cherub is a job description,
Yeah.
then it would make sense.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe part
it
of
would.
like a third of the angels
Mm.
falling with Satan is part of that.
Yeah.
Like some of it is his
His entourage.
his cherub,
Which is very possible.
which is weird to think about.
It is. But I think it's less...
Unless he
it's-
was a cherub and then it's the guardians not guarding correctly.
But I think that's the big thing. That's what
That's
what
the
we have to...
description we get in Ezekiel
I think have to
28.
keep in mind a little bit so far here is like what we're seeing is not like this is this class and this is what they looked like
Right.
and they just happen to do this thing. It's like no, they're just a being and this
Right.
is what they do.
Yeah.
This is their job title.
Well, in the same way where humanity, we kind of go like, what is our purpose? Like outside of God,
Yeah.
that's the big thing is like, it's like the Zoolander. Have you
Yeah.
seen Zoolander?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen all of them?
I haven't seen the second one actually.
The second one is more so what I'm thinking about because
Oh,
there's
okay.
this moment where he's like out, Ben Stiller's like out on a balcony, and he's like, "Who am I? Who am I? Who am I?" And then he like goes into this whole like song thing, and it's all like, "Who am I?" And that's like the question of humanity is like, apart from God, who are we?
Yeah.
And the answer is nothing.
Right.
You are but
Dirt.
dust.
Yeah. Dust, yeah.
So like that is the thing. So then apart from Yahweh, who are the cherub? Like they are nothing.
Right.
So it, like when we see
They're unemployed is what
yeah,
they are.
right.
Yeah,
When we see
yeah.
like King of Tyre described in Ezekiel 28, it's like you once were this great guardian
Yeah.
cherub on the mountain of God in the garden of God, and now look at you.
Well, it even says, and then when you descend to the depths of Sheol,
Yes.
everyone will look at you and go, like, "Oh, you were the one that were tormenting us."
Right. So then the question is, are the lowercase, like, is there a difference between other Elohim or lowercase g gods? Are these a different class than fallen cherub?
And I think, well, actually, you know what I'll say to answer your other question? Kind of thinking through
Okay.
it a little bit
Okay.
more on like a philosophical side
Okay.
or like consistency side.
yeah.
I think it's fair to argue that they would have cherub. And the
Okay.
reason for that is because if this is a job,
Yeah.
why wouldn't they employ their own cherub?
Right.
Yeah.
But if they
It's
are
just
a
like,
cherub,
oh, I need something to guard me because I'm supposed to be Yahweh.
unless the lower Elohim are cherub.
Well,
You see what I'm saying?
unless they're guardians.
So we don't have any description of other Elohim.
Well, so that's the other thing is that when they would have fallen.
Yeah.
They would have been fired.
Right, but
So it's like their
are they
job.
cherub?
Well, so their job to be a cherub would no longer. It's like they could have been a cherub. It would be the same way as like.
No, but one step
if-
back. Are they cherub? Meaning,
Well, we know that one of them was,
correct.
which is in Ezekiel.
But if the one that was is the ancient serpent,
Mm.
because that I don't know that we have that.
We don't often put that together.
No, and it doesn't really put it together for us.
No, but it gives us a lot of hints that that's probably what they're talking about.
Unless the ancient serpent, the devil, Satan, is another Elohim,
Mm-hmm.
and the king of Tyre in Ezekiel 28 is actually a guardian cherub that falls,
Yeah, which is what I would argue.
but different than Satan.
Yeah, and I think with that, it's what's interesting is
Like is
so to think
is
about
the
this.
ancient serpent is a lesser Elohim, and then the third of heaven that falls with him are cherub.
Mm,
Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah, and I think
Like that's something we don't really have detail in.
No, and it's like to put it consistently is it says that in Ezekiel he was a guardian cherub
Right.
in the mountain of God.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, so that means his job, based on what we're seeing in the consistency of what Scripture's laying out,
Yes.
is that his job was to guard access to Yahweh.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So then when
and he failed at that, right?
when he failed, it's like, well, you got fired. You're no longer like if you're working in IT and they fire you from that job, and then now you're working at McDonald's. It's like you're not an IT guy.
Correct.
You're a McDonald's employee.
Oh, okay. So once the cherub gets fired, he's no longer a cherub,
Correct.
which means that a cherub is a job,
Yes.
which is synonymous with a specific being.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So then, wait, real quick,
Yeah.
side tangent before we get there.
Okay.
The reason why I think that they are different
Mm.
in their descriptions from Ezekiel to
Oh, yeah.
John the Apostle, and the reason why I think they look the way that they do is because of inadequacies in human vision.
Mm.
So, in other words, I think that what we see kind of throughout is like even Jesus in his descriptions in the New Testament when he's describing the kingdom of God,
Yeah.
he's using tangible things that they understand and know.
Yes.
So I think what's happening is they are seeing something, and like in Ezekiel's case, he is probably pointing back to
Mhm.
Mesopotamian things and going, "Oh, this is what they were talking about."
Yeah.
Like it's like that.
Yes.
Like what I'm seeing is like those things that you guys have seen in the Mesopotamian temples.
And it would make sense that he would see things slightly differently because he has a different cultural lens than Ezekiel would have.
But also think about like if you go to a 3D movie,
Mm-hmm.
and when you sit in a 3D movie, if you take the glasses off,
Oh, yeah.
you're getting multiple layers all at once.
And it's fuzzy.
It's not only fuzzy, it's actually it can be clear.
Yeah.
It's just clearly not aligned.
Yeah.
So my opinion is that what Ezekiel is seeing is not fully aligned for his vision.
Yeah.
So in other words, it's Paul's seeing through a mirror dimly.
Mm.
It's John the Apostle being in the heavenly spaces, and his dust brain cannot comprehend and piece together all the things that he's seeing.
Right.
So maybe for Ezekiel, he's seeing it with 3D glasses on,
Mm.
and so he's seeing four beings all in one.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe John didn't have his 3D glasses on, and he sees it all
Yeah.
split out
Yeah.
into four beings.
Which is possible as well.
And that's clear speculation. But my point with it is our physical eyes were not designed to see spiritual spaces.
Right.
So they were designed to see the spaces in which we are to have
Mhm.
dominion. So like we have the tools we need for the job we're doing.
Yes.
But the job we're doing is not in this other space.
No, it's here on the earth.
right.
Yeah.
So we're not equipped to function in the other space.
No, we're equipped to function in three-dimensional space.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, and also because of that, I think the other side with that, because there are other differences in their descriptions.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, John sees eyes everywhere.
Right.
Ezekiel never mentions that.
Sure.
John sees 6 wings.
Yeah.
Ezekiel sees 4 wings.
Right.
So it's like, wait, what? And I think a lot of that too is like, well, how do you put language to something that has no language?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, well, you do it through interpreting what you do know. In the same way you said Jesus is describing heaven through tangible things we can understand.
Yes.
Because what's happening up there, we cannot even comprehend.
Right.
Because we've never seen it before.
Yes.
And so in the same way, we see that even on Earth, where I remember I saw this video, it must have been like 15 years ago now, which is crazy to think about.
Okay.
Well, it might have been 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And the idea that this guy was following through is like, what would happen if you brought like George Washington and just dropped him into modern day Manhattan?
Sure, yeah.
And it's like his brain would probably explode.
It's the idea of giving Tesla an iPhone.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, their brains would probably break because they're just like, what am I even looking at?
Yeah.
And the same way there's stories of even when the ships were coming over to the Americas.
Sure.
The Native Americans oftentimes didn't even recognize that there was even something coming. They were like, oh, there's clouds over there.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they've never seen anything like that before, and they have no language to interpret it.
Yeah.
So now these people are being brought up into a space they're not even supposed to exist in.
Right.
And now they're supposed to tell other people what they saw. They're like, eyes?
Yeah, everywhere.
It's like everywhere.
Well,
and there was like this wheel that was also within another wheel, and it was spinning everywhere. It's like, what? It's
and you're like,
yeah, exactly.
So the motorcycle
he doesn't
from
even
Tron?
fully know. And the thing that's interesting about that is he might be able to picture it in his mind perfectly the way he saw it.
Sure.
But it's like, but how do you put words to that thing that has no words?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why he wrote what he wrote.
Yeah. And also with John, which is interesting in Revelation, is there's so much overlap with Old Testament prophecy.
Right.
And I think that's purposeful because he's like, well, these people use this language to see what I saw.
Yes.
So let me borrow their language, but then add my lens to it.
Yeah.
Because the way he interprets things is through his current day mind.
For sure.
And so like he's not surrounded by Egyptian and Mesopotamian carvings and myths.
Yeah,
he's surrounded by
Greek
and Roman.
Yeah. It's in a Greco-Roman world. Yeah,
so they would see things differently.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, and also like again, it's like that like from which angle did they see them?
That's also
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Because if they saw them just from the front or they saw them from the side, it's like, well, how many wings does it actually have? It's like I couldn't see what was on the back end of it.
Yeah, maybe
You know
there
what I
was
mean?
another set I didn't see. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe they have 6 more sets, we don't know.
Yeah. But it would make sense to bring in that idea of like, okay, it's like the Guardians that you've seen over here. It's similar to that.
Yeah.
But that would get back into so going back to this, do you have something else?
Kind of into this next space of going back to the question is like even I want to kind of look at it grammatically a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that also kind of gives us some clues into how they're talked about.
Okay.
And because I've already said like I think it's a job description.
Yeah.
And the other part of that is the way it's used. Like cherub isn't a name, but it's a noun.
Right.
It's a common noun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can
That's
say
true because we have like Michael.
Yeah, we name specifics.
Yeah, with certain angels. Yeah.
Yeah. It's never like, then Michael's
And then
showed up.
Gabriel.
The
Yeah.
Michael showed up. It's like,
Yeah.
wait, what?
Yeah.
And for that same fact, we can pluralize it. We can say the cherubim.
True.
And with that, it's like, you can count them.
Right.
And somebody's like, oh, I saw 4, or I saw 2, or I saw blah, blah, blah.
Unless it's hard to because, like, is one of them 4?
Right. Like, how does the math work out here?
Yeah. Gets a little blurry.
So with that, it's like, that's not how names work.
Right.
But that's how roles work.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and I think even the way what we see them doing is extremely consistent.
Yes.
Throughout all of Scripture. It's like, well, they're always given this description of guarding Yahweh.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
And so it's like, oh, so that's their function.
Well, and I like what we were talking about in like right before I went to the description thing is simply the idea that like when we see the the king of Tyre in Ezekiel 28, and we see that like you once were this. You once were this great guardian cherub in the garden of God, on the mountain of God, and then you fell into the depths of Sheol.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, then you were stripped of your job title.
Yes.
So was the job title cherub?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, but also is tricked you.
No.
but also are those who have the job of cherub, are they also cherub as a species?
And that's one where it's like we're not actually given that.
And because of the difference in Ezekiel's description and John's description,
Yeah.
they could actually not be one specific being,
Right.
but different, like cousins of a similar species.
Right. And because that's the one thing that we're not really given. That's the part that I find interesting is like within Scripture, and I've got one more thing to add another layer to this.
Okay.
Is like we're never really given a specifics of what they all look like consistently.
Okay.
The only times we see that is usually when they're on Earth.
Right.
And when we see that, those are angels, and they're given more human-like appearances.
Well, and that goes back to what I meant to say was Highlander. So like the book and the movie idea of like seeing, being in a 2-dimensional world, seeing a 3-dimensional object.
Yeah.
Like if you look at a cylinder in a 2-dimensional world, it looks like a circle.
Right.
Right? Or it looks like a straight line, depending on what angle
you're seeing it. Yeah.
So then are these beings multi-dimensional?
Yeah.
And so therefore our 3-dimensional like brain reception is not able to fully create boundaries to identify a 4, 5, 6-dimensional being.
Right. Also, even to walk that out, like the 2D to 3D, looking at a cylinder, it's just like, well, how would a 2D mind describe that? Be like, it's a line and a circle.
Yes.
And it's like, what?
It's a circle this way, but when you turn this way, it becomes a line.
It's a line with a circle on it.
Right.
And they're like, what? How can it have both?
But the line is in the middle of the circle.
Yeah.
And somehow it holds.
And there's circles on both ends. Wait, how do you know what both ends are? It's like,
Well, you see. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So what's the last thing?
So the other layer to this is, what about the seraphim?
The other dimension?
Yeah. So with this is like, I'm kind of seeing like, it seems like the Bible is explaining cherub as a job.
Okay.
But now we have the seraphim. So what do we do about those? Is that a species or is that another job? And if so, what is it?
Right.
And so with this, we really only see this word in Isaiah. And it's Isaiah 6, 2 through 7.
Can you name the hymn that says both cherubim and seraphim in it?
I can't. Oh, wait.
Can you? There's a hymn.
I think of the song. The first thing that came to mind is the song In the Bleak Midwinter. Is that it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Does that say
That's
it?
a Christmas song. Yeah, Cherubim and Seraphim.
That's in A Bleak Midwinter?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking that.
Yeah.
Well, then there's more than one.
Oh.
And there probably is like 3 or 4. But I'm thinking of Holy, Holy, Holy.
Oh.
Cherubim
That's right.
and Seraphim.
Yes.
Bowing down before him. And that goes into the...
Which is interesting because on part of that, it's like, wait. But the cherubim, we're like, it's a job title we're kind of exploring.
Sure.
So it's like, but I think it's confusing to us sometimes because that word hasn't been translated as guardian. It's just like, and here's that word with a capital letter.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, of course. So
Yeah. Hi, hello, Mr. Seraphim.
yeah. I am a seraphim.
Well, but that would be different. I am Seraphim.
Yeah, that would be
versus
different.
I am a Seraphim.
Like, what do you do for work? Seraphim?
Yeah.
Cherubim.
I'm in the seraphology department.
So we see this in Isaiah, and they're described as having...
Which that would be the study of Seraphim.
Yeah, yes.
I study
Isaiah.
myself.
Yeah, I study myself. Seraphimology. And so they're described as having 6 wings.
Okay.
So Isaiah and his audience would be more familiar with Egyptian symbology or symbolism than Mesopotamian.
Okay.
So I think with this, we see him using Egyptian symbols. And I'll kind of go into this a little bit more.
Oh.
So Hebrew has 2 words pronounced seraph.
Okay.
So one is a noun that means serpent. The second is a verb meaning to burn.
Okay.
So many scholars believe that seraphim means burning ones based on the verb.
Got it.
So they exclude the serpent imagery.
Okay.
So we get this idea of like, oh, the burning ones were around.
Yeah.
But sometimes both things, especially in Hebrew, can be at play at the same time.
Sure.
So in Egypt, the divine throne guardians were described as cobras, and cobras had that flared skin on their neck that they called wings.
Okay.
And so Egyptian artists exaggerated this trait to make them more bird-like wings. And we've seen that in hieroglyphs and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like these super long things on a serpent.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is that?
Yeah.
So also the venom from cobras, the venom that they would spit would cause your eyes to burn.
Oh.
So with this idea at play, we kind of get the idea that both things are happening and they're a fiery serpent.
Got it.
But what's interesting is because in Isaiah, and I forgot this in my notes to write it down, but they're doing the same job as throne guardians for Yahweh.
Okay.
And so it's kind of the idea of like, oh wait, so what's happening here? Are the cherubim clocking out and the seraphim are clocking in? Like, here's the night watch.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, really what we're seeing is 2 different cultures trying to explain what they're seeing. So in Isaiah, we have a Babylonian worldview.
Okay.
Or sorry, with
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel with a Babylonian worldview, explaining things the best he can through a Mesopotamian lens, which everyone would be very affluent with.
Sure.
And then in Isaiah, he's in Egypt.
Yes.
And he would see things the way the Egyptians saw divinity.
Oh, so you're saying cherub and seraphim are potentially human names for the same thing?
Yes. And they're actually just descriptors of the job.
Okay.
And so in the same way, it's like with cherub, that's actually based off of the Mesopotamian word.
Got it.
And the way they're described is very similar.
Okay.
And I think with that, it's not because anyone's copying.
Right.
But they're like, that's the language I have to explain this thing I saw.
Yes. Okay.
And in the same way with seraphim, the burning, fiery serpent.
Yes.
He's like, well, that makes sense because that's what I see all around me every day in Egypt.
Yeah.
And I think the key indicator here is like they're both doing the same job.
Well, and then adding another opinion in, could it be that even the brain processing these things is only processing it how they know, not what they're actually seeing?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it could be that these prophets were processing through the lens of what they've seen.
Yes.
Versus actually describing what they were looking at. That their brain couldn't comprehend fully what they were looking at, so their mental image was closer to what they've already seen.
Yes. Yeah.
So in other words, they weren't maybe potentially not trying to go, well, it kind of looked like these things.
Right.
But more so they actually saw those things.
Yes.
Because that's like the vision that they had.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting with that is like it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what they saw.
No,
but that's the best way they could explain what they saw.
Well, and that's more characteristic of a dream.
Yeah.
And even of a vision in that way. That like typically you're not in a vision, you're not typically seeing something you've never seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if someone has a vision, even a prophetic vision, it's more so something to come, but it's not a completely new idea.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that the visions described are putting together pieces of things that are to come, but are laid out in a way only using things that they have in their tool bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, actually, so even in the dream side of it, to what you're saying, like the way, even with how like location changes inside of a dream.
Yeah.
Where it's like in your dream, the way I would, if like, oh, I saw something and it's like, yeah, so I was in my backyard.
Right.
And then I turned around and then I was at your house.
Yes.
And then I turned again and I was at Walmart.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, in the dream, I was in one place.
Right.
But in reality, I'm like, the way I can describe it is I was teleporting to these different locations.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, which one
I was
it?
brought to this place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in
True.
the dream space, it's like I was in one spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So then cherubim and seraphim, which wasn't part of my question.
I added to it. Yeah.
I like it. Are they a species or is that a job description?
And based on like what I'm seeing and what makes sense for how Scripture lays it out, is it's a job description.
That makes sense.
And I think even with what we've seen in other places,
yeah,
because even was it in which book was that when it was talking about like the two holy ones talking to one another?
Oh, I think it's Isaiah.
That might be, yeah. So even with that, it's like how it's translated to us and what it's actually saying are different.
Yeah, like keeper of the numbers.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, it's talking about jobs.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Right.
that's the consistency that we see often with Scripture is it gives us the job description of the thing,
Yeah, because the only
but
thing,
it doesn't tell us what the thing is.
because the guy doesn't go, "Hey, I'm Bob."
Right. Yeah.
It's more so like the observer is going, "This person or this thing is doing this,"
Yeah.
so I'm gonna call it what it's doing.
Yes.
Which that goes back to the question, like, are you your job or do you do your job?
Yeah. Well, and actually, even with that, it's like, well, humanity was part of the thing that we were given. Our title was to be image bearers.
Correct.
So it's like, oh, well, what are these things on earth? Well, they're image bearers.
Yes.
That's their job, to image God.
Yes. Yeah, and to build a replication of his kingdom on the earth.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Basically, to make it his kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Through the image bearers of him.
Yes. And so when we're not acting as image bearers, when we've denied God's employment,
Yes.
we said, "Hey, saw your offer, no thank you."
Yeah.
We're actually saying, "I don't want the job, so I'm going to get unemployed."
Well, and through what happens to, again, King of Tyre, Ezekiel 28, those who do not do the job that they were created to do,
Yeah.
their ultimate resting place is away from God, which is
Yes.
the depths of Sheol.
Yeah.
So that's true of all creation, all created beings who decide to not do the job God created them to do,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is why over and over again it's I don't need you, like, I would rather you just obey my commands than offer sacrifices because you're being disobedient.
Yeah.
Just do the job
Yeah.
instead of continuing to not do the job and say, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
If you would just do the job, then we're good here.
We'd be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing your job, then you're quitting and there's only one place you can go.
Yeah.
It's out of active communion with me.
Yes.
It's not where I am not, and that's a different discussion. It's more so out of active
Yeah.
blessing of being in communion, proper communion with me.
Yeah. And we see even with like these other gods that try to make themselves to be Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, they're looking at self-employment.
Yes.
And God's saying like, that's not how this works around here.
Yeah, they started their own businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And God's like, sure, but I'm going to destroy your business.
Yeah, like, I'm Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to buy you out.
But the fact is like, the unfortunate thing in using that is like, no one wants to work for Walmart. They want to work for themselves.
Yeah, true.
But in the kingdom of God and the way
Let's
that we
make
were
it Publix.
designed,
That's a little bit
fair.
It's got a nicer look to it.
Yeah. You want to work for the kingdom of God.
Yes.
Because it's not just like, oh, this is something I'm choosing. It's you were created for it.
Yeah.
So what you're choosing is to not do what you were created for.
Yeah.
So there's nothing defined.
No, it's like, hey, and I think that's the big thing where even while we're not inside of Scripture, it comes back to, we talked about this last time, we've talked about this before, is like,
Yes.
well, what's the point of what it's saying?
Right.
And it's like, well, the point of Scripture is to tell you who you are, what happened, what you're supposed to do,
Yes.
and what God's done about it.
Right.
And it's the same thing. It's like, he's not there to tell us like, okay, and this is how heaven works.
Right.
and these are all of my employees.
Yeah.
And this is their jobs. This is even what they look like.
Right.
He's just like, no. Like, there's glimpses into it because there's interplay.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's like the whole of it is say, this is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
It's basically, it's like our training manual
Yes. And
of just like, this is how you're supposed to act and what you're supposed to do.
And you could almost even say that the guardian cherub not doing his job in the garden, whether that was or wasn't the ancient serpent, even the ancient serpent not doing his job in the garden was his actual, like, not just him not doing his job, but a step further, he showed humanity that they don't have to function in what they were designed to function in.
Yeah.
So the knowledge that was brought to them was the knowledge that they could start their own business.
Yeah.
And if they started their own business, what they didn't realize is that they were created for a business. And if they go out on their own, then there's only one place that will end up.
Yeah.
So it's like the bad thing about the ancient serpent in some ways is not just that it's like you didn't do your job or you rebelled and you were disobedient and therefore your job title was stripped from you, but you also did it in front of humanity.
Yeah.
And because you did it in front of humanity, it's going to be worse for you.
Yes.
Because when you did it in front of humanity, humanity realized they could also do it.
Yes.
And they did.
Yes.
So you're responsible for humanity
and your own.
and your own disobedience.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me, I think this was in our near-death experience episode.
Okay.
Where even we talked about the accusers.
Yeah.
Because that's actually one where we do see like a change in job titles.
Yeah.
Where it's like pre-Christ, we see this especially in Job. It's like, well, there was a role that was called the accuser.
Yes.
And they were meant to go and accuse the righteous.
Yeah.
In front of God.
Yeah.
And be like, this is all the wrong they did.
Right.
And they would have to repent from those things.
Yeah.
But then we see post-Christ, we don't actually need that job anymore.
Right.
That role is null and void.
Yes.
So let me give you a different job.
Yeah.
Because that job, we don't need it.
Right.
We have Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
So then it is a job description. Does it encompass multiple species? We don't really know.
Yeah, we actually have no clue.
But we do have multiple descriptions of beings in the title or within that job.
Yeah.
So
and
is it the same?
There are similarities between those.
Right.
But it is also possible. It's like, let's just say that it is literal what they're describing.
Yeah.
I think that's a stretch to say that
sure.
This is a literal description. It sounds like you got a new breed.
But it also, I think maybe the way to frame it would be more so, are we supposed to look at it as a species? Or is the Bible describing it as a job?
And the way it's describing it is as a job.
Yeah, and I think I would agree with that.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.